Hi, I'm honored to present to you today on the demo's roots. So I'm curatorial director of the CHM Internet History Program, which tells the story of our online and mobile worlds and their roles in people's lives. It builds on the extensive networking materials and exhibits at CHM, including the huge ARC-NIC archive that is a foundation of our networking collection, thanks to Jake Feinler here, who saved it in her garage. Besides the exhibits I hope you'll visit later, which include various materials from Doug and SRI, we have the largest general collection of computing materials in the world, which is open to researchers. Which is also open to researchers. About 40% of our collection is physical objects. The rest is papers, video, images, software, and data. And I did forget to click. That's the museum. So today, people seem to think what Doug and his team showed in 1968 sprang up fully formed. But the mother of all demos, as Andy Van Dam apparently dubbed it after Saddam Hussein's mother of all wars, actually had a rich set of ancestors of her own. It is communication in the form of cultural evolution that led our ancestors outsource fur to clothing, strong teeth to stone choppers, long intestines to cooking fires. That gradual objectification of functions eventually reached back to its own basis, communication itself. And the result was information technology, from clay tablets to quipus, talking drums, and cross-referenced encyclopedias. As Doug realized, among others, innovations in how we handle information have a special amplified power. They are fulcra on which we can move our world. By changing nurture, they can partly reprogram what kind of creatures we are. When we talk nervously of future AI modifying its own programming, we should realize that that's what we've been gradually doing over 800,000 generations. Skipping ahead, by the end of the 19th century, the transport of information was heavily mechanized. But the ways people navigated and retrieved that knowledge would have been familiar to scholars in ancient Egypt, looking stuff up on paper. There were several plans to automate the process with all manner of tech, from microfilm and early television to punched cards to Nikola Tesla's wireless world system with the towers on the left. Paulo Today and Henri de La Fontaine used nearly all the media I just described for their Mundaneum in Brussels. They began flexibly cataloging all the information in the world. They believed new information tech would bring world peace and prosperity. The 1890s were like the 1990s that way. Emanuel Goldberg of Zeiss Icon in Dresden pioneered automated search using photocells and punched microfilm. He even built a version into a desk, like a workstation. There were several plans to automate the process with all manner of technology. Science and science fiction writer H.G. Wells wrote an influential book, World Brain, to promote ideals like Ostwald's, Otlay's, and Goldberg's. But then came World War II. Pre-war, continental Europe and Germany were leaders in information technology in the broader sense. The war ended that. The chief Nazi librarian actually destroyed Otlay's Mundaneum before his eyes. All the world brain work I've just described would be remembered through a single indirect channel, Vannevar Bush. His Memex was a brilliant mashup of Goldberg's microfilm desk with some of the linking and hypertext ideas of Today and others. Meanwhile, the electronic digital computer got invented. A few expensive variants were interactive and even connected, like Sage. Pre-war dreams of a world brain had involved, as we saw, a kludgy witch's brew of different media and technologies. A few visionaries, including Ted Nelson, Doug Engelbart, J.C.R. Licklider, realized the new computer might eventually be the one ring to rule them all. So, tracing other branches, workstations. So a key branch of Engelbart's work was about these, as we can see outside with a beautiful reproduction, and optimizing a knowledge worker's tools. He and others took the ancient model of a writable rectangle and imagined a computer screen with a keyboard and pointing devices. But the basic configuration had already been partly automated. Another route. Today, it's obvious that computers can handle video, audio, text, etc. But before Claude Shannon, it was assumed different media would require different kinds of signals, not a universal language of ones and zeros. That was just one part of a deeply underappreciated paradigm shift in the 40s and early 50s. Other surprises included the computer as a universal machine, the generality of feedback mechanisms and domains from machines to social systems, cybernetics, the perfect reproducibility of digital media, that they don't degrade in copying, and all sorts of parallels between automation and the brain. Another route is scaling, both as a problem and technique. Information flood goes back perhaps 4,000 years to the first archives big enough to require a new invention, the catalog. The pre-war world brainers saw it as their main challenge. Engelbart's system drew on all the roots above and more, but with a twist. He had an engineer's hands-on approach. Rather than treat theories of nurture and nature as abstract analyses, he turned them into formulas for co-evolving people, skills, and tools. Where others hoped that once their world brains were fully built, they could improve society, Engelbart tried to trial that kind of cybernetic feedback loop right in his own laboratory. Whether he got the formulas exactly right is almost beside the point. He showed that you can credibly attempt to accelerate the mechanisms of innovation and cultural evolution, to hack the very information systems that make us human. Next year will be a number of netiversaries, to coin an awful word, from ARPANET at 50 to the web at 30. But I see the demo as really the kickoff with its announcement of the Network Information Center and the preview of so many features of later online worlds, both used, in use, and still to come. So happy birthday to cyberspace. And please get in touch if you have historical materials to offer or want to research the ARC-NIC collection or other aspects of our collections. And please join us Wednesday for a discussion of how Engelbart's ideas can be applied to today's great problems. Thank you very much.